So professional data scientists write programs, not scripts. So this is a script. This is a pretty straightforward script with sequential programming, right? But if you want to get out there in the real world and you really want to, if you really want to impress on a code test, or you really want to impress somebody on your first day, because you landed a job and you want to show that you work in a professional environment, this is a type of code I want to encourage all of you to start with or start working on, right? You should have an entry point. You should be pointing to a main method. The main method sits here, and it's basically just using the same code we did before, but in a way that's broken out by methods. You have your imports at the top, you have the methods that you're going to need, and then you have the main, right? So in main, you're loading your data, right? So that means you're calling your load data method, which is really the same as before, right? Same lines, but it's a much more organized, much more reusable way, and it's also commented, right? ChatGPT added the comments for us. But this is how you lay out professional code. And I have a template, and I want to show you one more thing that ChatGPT does not add, is you also want to add a template header, or excuse me, a file header that always sits at the very top of all of the code that you write, okay? So you're going to describe what the file does. In your old school files, your old school guys, they also include the name of the file at the top. That's something that's kind of fallen out of practice, but you are going to come across some files that do that. But you always describe what your code does and any inputs and outputs that you need. And then you always write a copyright. Your employer or your client usually owns the copyright. So that's me. I have my own LLC. And then you always list yourself as the prepared by person or the programmed by person, because in the real world, you do not own the copyright to your code. That's called your stock and trade, right? The stock and trade is that you wrote the code, but they're paying you for it, so the company owns the code. You never put a copyright of yourself. And then that's where you start the rest of your Python.